The Mariners signed Austin Voth yesterday. Austin Voth, a 6-year MLB veteran relief pitcher. He's pitched for the Nationals, pitched for the Baltimore Orioles, and he's a local guy. Comes from Redmond, so he is returning now to his home state. Austin Voth is not that great of a player, just all things in general. If you look at his stat page, you don't see a whole lot there that is super impressive. Last year, he pitched to a 5.19 ERA. He was 1-2 was his record in 25 games, 0 games started, 34 innings, strikes out 34 batters, so pretty solid strikeout per inning ratio there, with an ERA plus of about 80, FIP of 5.10, so the underlying numbers kind of say the same thing. In 2022, he had a little bit of a better year. He had a 4.34 earned run average, but what you really look at is with Baltimore. So he's with Washington in 2022, he had a 10.13 ERA. That is awful in 19 games. But then he went to Baltimore and actually became a starter for them. And in 17 games as a starter for Baltimore, he completely turned his season around with 22 games started, 17 games, and his earned run average was 3.04. So it was really a tale of two seasons for him in 2022, but he actually wasn't all that bad. However, past 2022, you look at 2021, 49 games with the Nationals to a 5.34 ERA, and then in 2020, 11 games started with the Nationals with a 6.34 ERA. His career ERA sits at 4.90. In his career he has started 39 games and relieved in 100 games. So the chances is that he's going to be a reliever. We did sign him to a major league contract, so he's going to be on the team, which is interesting, or else we would have to waive him. It's a 1-year, $1 million contract, so we're not really breaking the bank here. We're not really breaking the budget, which obviously, the Mariners weren't never going to break the budget this year. That was not one of their goals this offseason, was to spend a bunch of money. So they bring in a guy like Austin Voth, who maybe he's not the top or even in the middle of the reliever section of the free agency class, but what Austin Voth can do is he can contribute. He can throw some innings. It sounds like what they're going to do is they're going to stretch him out at spring training and allow him to be able to be a reliever, but also have the ability to start for us if necessary. And so again, this is just about increasing the floor, increasing the depth, because what the Mariners don't want to happen is a couple injuries derail the season. So now you've got two major league caliber pitchers who, are they going to blow you away? No. But if Logan Gilbert and Brian Wu are both injured at the same time, now you have the option to go to Desclafini, as well as the option to go to Austin Voth, as well as the option to call up Emerson Hancock. So now you kind of have three guys that you can call up / convert to a starter if needed. And that was a role that before the season you only had one, which was Hancock, who we didn't really trust. Easton McGee may also come back. So there's going to be room for these pitchers, and trust me, there will be innings. We're more than likely we will see Austin Voth start games for us because injuries do happen, and it sounds like he's going to be kind of the seventh guy in that starting pitcher depth chart. Well, right now, it's a 5-man rotation, so right now he's not going to be in that starting rotation. He's probably going to start the season in the bullpen, but from there, anything can happen, and yeah, I think he's going to contribute. And, knowing the Mariners, the way that we have converted struggling relievers into dominant relievers, like look at what we did with Paul Sewell, look at what we did with Taylor Saucedo, look at what we've done with all the Gabe Spire, look at what we've done with all these players who've come to Seattle. Drew Steckenrider comes to mind. Come to Seattle, struggling in their careers, and we've converted them into great pitchers, great relievers. And I think there's a chance we could do that again with Austin Voth here. And also, I do think that being back in his home state helps. I think a lot of times, changes of scenery really helps players, especially when they're going back to a place that they've called home for so long. He's from Redmond, so he's really close by. Yeah, this could be a good move. Underrated, good move which I'm very excited about. And it does bring into question how many guys are in the Mariners bullpen, because there's a lot of dudes that the Mariners have started to acquire for their bullpen. I'm gonna pull up the full list because it's at a point now where there's almost too many guys in the Mariners bullpen. But the bottom line is you really can never have too many. So where it stands, this offseason, the Mariners have added Austin Voth, Anthony DeSclafani. They've also traded Jackson Kowar was included in that Kelenic trade. Carlos Vargas in the Eugenio Suarez trade. They got Cody Bolton. They signed Ty Buttrey, and then they also added some lower name guys. They claimed off of waivers Mariano Lovera from the Orioles, Jackson Krebiel, as well as a couple other guys, Snead, Diaz, Abbott. So they have added a lot of depth to this bullpen, and they haven't really lost anyone from the bullpen either. All of their guys from last year are still around. And so right now, where I think the bullpen is at, I think you've got Munoz obviously has a job. He's going to be your closer. And Matt Brash is your setup. And then I think Justin Topa is kind of your other high leverage arm. I think Gabe Spire is pretty much a lock to be kind of your left-handed specialist, if you will. And then it sounds to me like DeSclafani is a lock because they want him as their long reliever. That's what they told him. They're paying him too much for him to not be a lock. And then Taylor Saucedo is pretty much a lock as well. So that kind of leaves two spots for all of these guys. My guess is opening day, barring injuries, which injuries are very possible, my guess is opening day they're going to give it to the guys on major league deals, which is Trent Thornton and Austin Voth. So that puts you at 8 right there. You got Munoz, Brash, Topa, Spear, DeSclafani, Thornton, Saucedo, Voth. That's a solid group. You've got multiple high leverage arms. The bottom half of that pen does not sound like they are going to potentially be awful. And what's nice is that leaves you with one of the deepest AAA bullpens. Because now your AAA bullpen, like Prelander Baroa and Carlos Vargas, could both be major league guys. So could Ty Adcock. Ty Adcock pitched very well for us last year. You also still have Eduardo Bazardo. You still have Cody Bolton, who you picked up this season, and you still have a very interesting name in Ty Buttrey, who, if you're not familiar with Ty Buttrey, he's the player who we signed him to a minor league deal. He last pitched in 2020, and he retired from baseball 2021, but he came back last year and pitched in AAA, and pitched pretty well in AAA. So Ty Buttrey, in 2019, he was actually the Angels closer, and he was very good in 2019, but he kind of fell apart in 2020 and then retired. But he's only 31 years old. He could potentially make some noise. I don't think he's on the opening day roster. I think he's probably going to the Rainiers. But if you look back, 2019 season for him, 72 games, 3.98 earned run average with a couple of saves. He has 11 career saves in 3 years with the Angels. So he has experience pitching high leverage. We'll see what comes out of it. It might be nothing. It might be, it might be kind of a Ken Giles thing where he's rehabbing the whole year. Who knows? But it's an interesting move, at least, with a little bit of upside there for a 31-year-old who could definitely contribute to this major league team if he gets into the right spot.